GM. All right, so trade of the day should be a good one. First thing I want to look at is non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. So here's what happened last time. Excuse me. We had the NFP data on the 3rd of May, and you all seen what happened on that day. This was it over here. Look at this massive pump. Then we had other jobs data during the month, which, if I can remember correctly, I think there was some last week. Unemployment claims, but not really. Core PC last Friday. We'll look at employment data and inflation data. Core PC last Friday, which was the 31st of May. Going over here. 31st of May. That was it there. It was initially a pump and a dump down, and then a consolidation. And what else was there throughout the month? This was the Ethereum pump, ETH ETF pump, and these are all important. These are important, which I'll cover in a second. And I'm trying to think, was there a catalyst behind that one, the 15th of May? Was that CPI? Pretty sure that was CPI, right? 15th of May, CPI, yep, it was. CPI. Now, I want you to compare expectations and reality. During the last two big moves, we had a better setup for longs. We had a setup here where the market was super bearish. Market had been bearish, and then we got some news that was bullish and surprised the market, and boom, away it goes. Then there was no follow through off that move, and price came all the way back and consolidated and chopped and was bearish and chopped and bearish. And then we got the good CPI, the inflation number, and boom, away it went. Straight pump, no pullback. And then we continued into a final pump of the ETH ETF rumors, which caused everything to pump, Bitcoin and ETH. And then Bitcoin, of course, retraced that as it wasn't a Bitcoin move. And Bitcoin has then consolidated since then above these levels and held and is now grinding up, stair-stepping into this resistance. So if you look at this core PCE number from last Friday, which showed a cooling of inflation, which is exactly what the markets should need to see to go up, and price didn't go up. Why did we not get one of these big breakouts? Positioning. Positioning is everything. So let's look at positioning. I'll take all of this off and just leave on the open interest and the funding. So just Bitcoin alone, since the first piece of good news, right? Bitcoin's open interest is up 16%. 25,000 contracts. In dollar terms, notionally, that is about 7.214. That's about 1.5, 1.6 billion of open interest added onto Bitcoin since the first NFP pump, basically exactly a month ago, as we're going into the next NFT number release. And price has risen, which is also good. You know, since then, price has risen by probably an equivalent amount, 21%. So from that perspective, your open interest is not outpacing price since the higher time frame move has begun. But especially since the ETH move, which is where I really want to look at, and we saw that spike up in funding, and we saw the perp premium appear and the spot premium disappear. This now, in this area, is where people are building their positions. This is where longs are getting long, anticipating a Bitcoin breakout. And is that going to happen today? I would like to see it happen. I am long, but I'm skeptical. I think there might be too much positioning here. So obviously initially Bitcoin had the pump up when ETH had its move. That actually wiped open interest down because it was a short squeeze and longs took profit into the shorts getting stopped out. Then Bitcoin had a sell-off, bottomed out, and since then, open interest has been rising. And OI is up currently 16% from there, right? Open interest up 16% from there. And Bitcoin's price is only up 7%. So out of all of this move from before CPI and into this, the majority of the new position building has happened since the ETH ETF pump, and Bitcoin itself is only up 7%, OI is up 16%. There is absolutely a build-up of positions here. Now, build-up of positions means longs and shorts, but when you have a market that's expected to be bullish like we are now, the ones at more risk are the longs. In a very, very simple manner. So it's hard to say that you should be long or getting long into this NFP number, right? Now that's not, don't mistake it. I'm long Bitcoin from over here. I'm already swing long, but would I add at 71,300 for trade of the day? No. I'd be concerned that on the news event, it pumps and takes out those stops and then flushes all of this out. And we at least go back to fill in all of that gap that's built up. And maybe if it wants to grind higher from there, then it can. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Anything deeper than that, I think, would require an actual trend shift, right? Something for Bitcoin to go to 64 or 60 or 56. I think there would have to be some news that is really bad and makes the market reconsider what it's going to do. And, you know, because even a move from 72 down to 67, that would be pretty brutal. And that would definitely wick down a lot of alts. That's 7% flush. But when you see the build-up of positioning, like, that can definitely happen. Unless there's something that catalyzes Bitcoin to break out, don't forget it's just a range, right? Don't forget it's just a range. And we haven't tested range high twice. This was the range getting set, okay? That was the first move up into resistance, where it sets basically what the resistance is. And then it comes down and it forms a support. And we have tested support multiple times. So we've tested support. We've tested support. We've had resistance once. We've hit it here. No deep pullback. This can easily be resistance and holds for one more touch. And we go back to support. And then we break out again. Could be a false breakout. Could be any of those things. It could be a clean breakout. And I'd like to see that. I don't know. Part of me thinks there's maybe a little bit too much of position building that's gone on since the 20th of May. Since ETH ETF started to get rumored, people are just piling in. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's the entire market. If you go to global OI, it's up a lot. And I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know the extent of this move. But I look at the global open interest, which is all coins. And I look at that day of the ETH approval, or the ETH rumor, sorry. And I look at where open interest was before that. It was down here. And since then, it's up 9.5 billion in dollar terms, 22%. That's across every coin. And I just think that given that most coins are not even trending, like most of them are not making new highs, yet there's been a huge buildup of open interest. That tells me people are building positions long with leverage, expecting a breakout. That's risky. And so I think there's going to be a flush, a shakeout, a leverage wick, whatever that might be. And I think the best time, if you're patient, to buy is whenever there is some kind of wick down and maybe a little bit of a spike down on that open interest. I don't know if it's going to be today. Today could be a catalyst because of the employment data. And it's not a position where I would feel like shorting because I think it's a bullish dip. I think that the dip will get bought once people get leverage liquidated. And of course, there might not be a dip if we're just super bullish, right? Maybe Bitcoin's going to 80K, I don't know. And the dip comes from higher. But I've just got one eye on that. So that's it for today. GM.